Here we go.
Thank you, Mr. Engineer. Once again, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our new show, our new platform of WeChatting, where we chat about anything and everything. And today, my guest is one guy who's actually unique, a handsome man.
Thank you.
And he goes by the name of Dillon.
That's right.
Dillon.
Yes, Mr. B. Thanks.
What's cooking, my guy?
I'm all good on yourself. Thanks.
No, I'm good, man. I'm good.
Thank you for hosting me here today. Always wanted to be on a live platform.
Yes. So this platform, we're actually trying to push it in a way where we talk about anything.
Yeah.
Be comfortable. We
Got
talk
it.
about everything, you know.
All right.
And today, I felt like maybe let me bring my guy Dillon,
Yes.
and let me have a chat with him.
Yeah. Well, pleased to be here. Pleased to be here. Like I said, thank you for hosting me, and I'm excited to catch up with you. It's been a while.
Wonderful.
Happy New Year.
Great stuff. So let me quickly jump into it. Dillon, let me ask you quick. Tell us more, not more. Tell us a bit about yourself. Introduce yourself, man.
Well, all right. Well, my name is Dillon Middleton. I'm from a small coastal city called Port Elizabeth, Eastern Cape. And I moved up to Johannesburg a couple of years ago. And that was in pursuit of my football career, actually, at the time. I've been fortunate enough to actually take that to a semi-pro level. And not too long ago, I actually did another transition from Johannesburg to overseas to pursue my career.
Okay. So let's talk about the football.
Yeah.
You said you played football and you made it what? You call it what? I'm not much into sports, man.
No, fully. So basically, I went for a couple of trials throughout probably a 6-year period. I left Port Elizabeth directly after high school.
Yeah, I see.
And it was then when I actually played, I went for trials at Bloemfontein Celtic, stayed there for a bit. I trialed for various different agencies, trying to get an agent on board. As you would know, it's who you know these days, which is really important. And then the last team that I played for was Highlands Park. They just got promoted to the PSL.
I see.
During that period. And from there, a different opportunity actually arose. And I followed up with it, and that took me overseas to America.
Okay. Let's go the transition from you from being a footballer into going into America.
Okay.
Did you go straight to America, or what happened?
So what happened was football was basically a lifestyle at the time. I was chasing the dream. I believe I had the talent. I had the hard work and the drive. It's just one of those things where whether it's your will or his will, that will determine a big portion of where I will be in the future. I made the decision. I remember walking into the bedroom and I sat down with my brother. He was the foundation of my support structure. And I sat him down and I said, Dad, and it's been a couple of years now, and we're just not getting that big break that we're looking for. However, there's another opportunity overseas. It's a brand new transition for me. And this opportunity required me to pack up my bags and basically work on cruise ships.
Nice.
Which I'll touch on a bit later. And eventually, I took the decision. I made the decision and I went abroad. And now I'm back due to COVID-19 for just a little.
Yeah, COVID-19's messed up a lot of things lately.
It has.
But I'm actually taking it as a wake-up call.
Yeah.
I saw a status earlier on, which quite touched me. And I was actually thinking, okay, I think I'm going to ask Dillon about this thing. It says what you learned in 2020,
Yeah.
you're going to actually apply it in 2021. So what you have learned during COVID-19, during the whole year of 2020.
All right.
Yes. We all learned our lessons. We all, took time to ourselves. Like you are saying, COVID-19 brought you back home.
Yes.
Got you back from work to actually, have to come back home, spend time with family.
Yes.
reflect on yourself.
Yep.
So my question to you right now is, what did you learn that you are actually planning to apply in this year? What did you learn in 2020 and that you are going to apply in 2021?
I see. That's actually a good question, Brian. Thank you for the question. I've learned a lot during the year. Interesting story, actually. My COVID-19 experience was being locked up abroad on a ship. I left in November of 2019, and my contract was due for 6 to 8 months. And before I knew it, I think we went into March, and we got the bad news on board all the crews, on board all the different cruise lines.
Yeah, March. That's where all the scary movies started.
That's apparently so. And bear in mind, I'm not on land at this time. We didn't know much about masks. We never knew what was happening on land. We were not aware that we had to sanitize constantly. And it sounded like some sort of apocalypse was taking place. Nonetheless, I think it was March the 17th, if I'm not mistaken, we had to get rid of the guests that were on board halfway through their cruise. So you can only
imagine. And apparently,
imagine.
I saw on news that was quite a hectic, should I say, move? I'm going to say move. It was quite a hectic move for you guys to actually move your guests on out of the ship.
Yeah.
I mean, how many guests do you guys actually host on a ship?
On that ship, on average, it's a couple of thousand. So basically, it was a couple of thousand guests, about 2.5, maybe even 3,000 guests at the time. And the captain made an announcement on the intercom, and we all got the bad news as crew members. Crew members were also about a couple of thousand, 1,500 plus or minus.
On a ship?
On a cruise ship, yes, definitely.
1,000 plus, minus?
That's crew members. So
only? That's a lot, man.
It's a lot, yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot of guests, crew members and guests. So for us to actually ask them to depart and see this happen, and the captain making that announcement, we knew that something was happening on land that just we couldn't comprehend, obviously being on the ship. So here's the interesting part, Brian. So we actually sailed into Miami. We dropped to Miami. I think it was Fort Lauderdale. It was Miami Port, excuse me. And we dropped off our guests, and the captain made an additional announcement for all crew members on board. We're actually sailing back into the ocean, and we will be anchored down for an indefinite period. And of course, you can imagine, we were like, "Whoa, what's going on? Are we just gonna float in the middle of the ocean indefinitely? It's 5 days. It's 5 hours?" And before we knew it, Brian, long story short, 3.5 months later, after three flights being cancelled, repatriation flights being cancelled, I found myself on soil again for the first time.
3.5 months.
3.5 months later. 3.5 months.
So
later.
lockdown level 5. Lockdown level 5. You were actually on a ship.
Yes.
In the middle of, should I say, nowhere?
Yes, that's right.
And for 3 months.
3.5 months.
3.5 months.
Yes.
Wow, that's hectic. Continue. Let's hear more about this, man. It's quite interesting.
It is quite an interesting story. Many of my friends, they're curious to find out, like, what is the experience like?
Yeah, tell us more about the experience, man. I mean, I'm just wondering, for 3.5 months on a ship, and you guys are actually locked down.
Yeah.
Definitely, you're not working.
Yeah.
You guys are seeing on the news what's happening on land.
Yes. That was our reference point, TV, watching, whether it's Bloomberg or some sort of news channel, seeing what's happening on land. It was frightening in the beginning.
Yeah.
After, let's say, the first 24 hours of confusion, the staff captain and various other positions, they basically tried to make the experience as comfortable as possible. And of course, they didn't need anyone to panic on board the ship.
Definitely.
So lockdown happens. Boom, in the middle of the ocean.
Level 5. Level
5 on land. And during this period, we were actually shifted as crew members from cabins. I promise you, the cabin is a size, it's probably 1.5 meters by 1.5 or 2 meters by 2 meters. It's literally small, it's tight. When you're in the shower, you're basically on the toilet. When you're on the toilet, you're basically in the shower. So it's that's basically the size of the cabin. We were fortunate enough because the captain wanted to make it a comfortable experience for all of us. He shifted us to guest cabins. Now that's more or less your average size. The room is the size.
That's now more luxury, you know.
It's luxury.
That's more comfortable.
Definitely. I mean, you have
that is meant for the guests.
It's for the guests. It's for the guests, yes. So it's a bigger room, bigger TV, bigger shower, and from here we actually had the best time of our lives, to be honest. We had jacuzzis available for the first portion. We had swimming pools open up. We had the gym available. We played some soccer or footy on board. And that was probably for the first period until things got a bit more serious and the news started speaking about death. And that's when it hit us and all the regulations took place.
At some point, that's when you have all the fun, you know, I mean, what more can I say? And then, it hits you. And then that's when you realize, like...
Tracy says Titanic.
Oh, it's
definitely. Actually, Tracy, she's right. So you guys were basically like, you on a Titanic vibe, on a movie.
It was definitely some sort
of... that they were missing, the missing part was that those guys who were playing, what was the band? Whoever, those guys, you know, on Titanic, those guys who carried on playing when the ship was actually going down.
Yeah.
So basically, that's what you guys were in, actually, to say. Level 5, lockdown, Titanic vibes, and you guys on ship, you're on board for like... Wow.
So, I want to know how many babies were made.
Thank you.
Listen, I must admit, the experience on board was quite different. If I had to compare it from when we have guests on board, and this is unheard of circumstances. As you would know, it's a pandemic. It's unheard of. COVID-19 is a virus in the air that is sadly taking people's lives away. At the time, because we were isolated in the middle of the ocean, the ship turned into Love Island. It literally turned into some sort of a Love Island experience. I saw friends, I saw strangers gravitating towards one another, people who never spoke to each other before. You were forced, because, we're spending 24 hours every day together, stuck on this ship. It's crazy. It was there was a lot going on. A lot of drama.
Dillon, what else would you guys, what more would you guys want to do? You guys were locked down on the ship. And it's male and female. It's either you guys gonna kill each other there, like this. They show us on the movie when there's a pandemic virus come, and definitely babies were made. Love was actually found.
There was love. There was definitely
under lockdown level 3. And the other question that I'm actually seeing here from Tracy again is: did you guys ever run out of food supply?
That is
alcohol supply, condoms.
Oh, is that the extended?
Yeah, I'm extending it now. I'm thinking, I'm actually thinking out of the box now. Like, not only just food, condoms,
Yeah.
Since guys, you were, come on.
That's a good question.
Alcohol.
So what we did was, on the ship that I was on, we were based outside of Miami. Now, bear in mind, 360 degrees right around the ship. You cannot see
water.
It's just water. We've seen some of the best sunsets, sunrises. And what we would do every 7 to 14 days, we would sail back into Miami. The captain would arrange everything that needed to be arranged. The bottom deck, which is the deck for crew members and guests to enter and exit the ship, that was shut down as soon as we entered into the port. And the reason for this was they had a selected few crew members, getting off the ship, sanitizing products and bringing it back onto the ship. So produce.
So the bottom deck, those crew which were on the bottom deck were not allowed to come on the deck that you guys were. How many decks were that? How many decks did that ship actually carry?
On that ship, we had about approximately probably 16, 15 decks.
Okay.
And they stretch right across the ship.
And the name of the ship?
I think I'm going to keep that private for now.
Anyway,
I think it's best
so you are telling me the people who were going to get supplies wasn't allowed to come up deck. They were only actually, doing what you might call errands for you guys for stuff like your supplies.
That's right. So how it would work is the less crew members that got off, we were starting to understand, study, learn more about the virus and how it worked at the time. As you know, vaccines and all these things were taking place throughout this period. So there was a lot that was unknown, but there were basics that were known, like wash your hands for, I think, 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And at this point, the reason why they separated these crew members was so that if anything happened, if anyone had asymptomatic symptoms or potentially got the virus, they would be isolated away from us for about 14 days after touching produce, products, and so forth. And once that is all cleared, then they have the freedom of joining the rest of the group. So they're not literally stuck there for 3.5 months at the bottom of the deck. It is just as a measure of precaution.
I see. So now I'm gonna go a bit personal, yeah.
All right.
When others were busy with others, who were you busy with? I'm actually quite curious. Who were you busy with?
Who was
Definitely
I?
there was someone. I mean, 3 months. 3 months is 3 months is actually long, guys.
That is a long time.
Yeah.
You caught me off guard there, right? But
I told you we talk about anything
and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. For the entertainment of the show, WeChatting. I'll share just a tad bit. So, I mean,
So definitely you found love. Anyway.
putting me in a corner here. On the ship, there was a period when, as I've said, people are basically finding their significant others, their partners, their lovers. Some finding the multiple partners.
Multiple partners.
Multiple partners. I mean, the more the merrier, apparently, according to the motto. But nonetheless, I did gravitate towards a woman on board, unknowingly. I mean, we had live music the one night. It was a mutual friend of ours. We went to the top deck. We sat there for probably a couple of hours. Bear in mind, the bars open, coffee shops are open, shops was open for a short period. And eventually we started chatting. I got to know her. She got to know me. And lo and behold, one day turned into 2 days. 2 days turned into 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And then the sad part of it, I had to say goodbye to her when we headed up to Southampton.
Yeah, definitely that was just, a lockdown fever. When you were guys locked down, you were lonely, I guess.
We were lonely. I mean, you can only
Yeah,
imagine
and
this experience. It's frightening for us.
I just hope she didn't take it too personal,
Look, in life, you lose some, you win some.
You win some, yeah. And you guys were there for each other at that moment.
Yeah, I think that was important. I think that's also why everyone gravitated towards someone. She was from the United Kingdom. And I mean, we found comfort in knowing that we could be there for one another in the times when we missed family, friends, things like Biltong, things that you miss, Kit Kat.
Yeah.
These things became extinct on the ship. It was all those small moments. And it's always nice to share an experience with someone else.
I wish this experience that you went through, I wish there was like a crew member where they're actually filming what you guys are doing. So it's not scripted. We are just filming everything that's happening on board.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a documentary in a way, and that would be nice to see. And
it would look.
Your story is quite, interesting, and
yeah.
I don't want to say it's sad because it sounds like you guys had a lot of fun.
We did. I mean, there were moments. There were highs and lows.
Yeah, and obviously people cried. People missed their families. Speaking of families, speaking of families, how did you guys manage now to contact yourselves to your, families that were on land?
So what happens on the ship, just to give you perspective, so usually we would pay for Wi-Fi.
Okay.
And the big thing was when we stop at these different ports in the Caribbean, because that's where I was based personally.
Yeah.
You have the privilege of getting off the ship for 6 to 8 hours in a day. So whether it be Jamaica today, in 2 days' time, you might be in New Orleans, and then a day later we'll be in Jamaica. I'm just giving you an idea, not necessarily, this was not our itinerary.
Okay.
But we'd get off the ship on these different islands, and we would take advantage of the Wi-Fi, because it can be a bit pricey on board the ship. Wi-Fi can be quite a bit pricey. The reason I'm giving you insight over there. It's the captain actually. They came up with a good idea. The captain and head office started chatting with one another, and they said free Wi-Fi throughout this period for all crew members. So this allowed us to FaceTime, WeChat, whatever app you would use. It would allow us to contact, video call, and you know, keep our family up to date as to what was happening. Weirdly, there was even a period where we actually missed the hurricane. Can you believe it?
You like?
Man, I can't get the name now. But there was a hurricane that we just missed that hit the middle of the ocean. And it literally moved around us for a couple of days. And the reason why it's so significant, even though we were in the middle of the ocean, in the vast distance, right around the ship, we could see other ships. I probably counted about 20 different ships.
I see.
So they would be on either side, but they were quite far away from us. You couldn't see a soul on board. You'd just see the figure of a ship.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So we'd see that, and they would be parked there for days, weeks next to us, until we obviously have to depart and collect produce and come back to an anchor in the middle of the ocean.
Wow. Like I said, this sounds... I'm a creative guy, so if I listen to a story like this...
Yeah,
I picture whatever is happening.
Yeah.
Now you brought in the hurricane coming in. That's Titanic, man. This is Titanic vibes. And thank God no one actually died, or should I say, thank God you guys didn't sink.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Thank God you
blessings.
The hurricane didn't actually, come towards you guys. You missed it.
Yeah.
For a reason. And and you're here with us.
No, definitely happy to be here. It's been a rough year, of course, for many families. So we're definitely blessed and thankful.
So here on land, Dillon.
Yes.
After you came from the ship after 3.5 months.
Yeah.
Sounds like 3.5 years.
It felt like it.
You came on land. What was actually weird for you? Was it people wearing masks?
Yeah.
Was it... the whole social distancing, the sanitizing of your hands and washing your hands for 20 seconds was like on board as well. But tell me, what did you find weird when you actually, departed from land, from your ship?
The weirdest thing for me was, I remember getting off the ship for the first time. This was in Southampton.
Sorry to cut you there. I'm actually thinking now. Your ship didn't come to Cape Town.
Oh, no. There was a ship that I think it went to Durban and then Cape Town. I speak under correction, but there was I think it was Carnival, the brand Carnival.
Okay.
One of the ships actually brought a whole lot of South Africans back. We were supposed to be on that ship. I knew mutual friends who were on the ship. And they actually sailed for a couple of weeks all the way down. But that was not part of. I was not part of that experience.
So you had to go somewhere else, get a plane, and
Hey, that's right. So
tell us more about it, man. Just chop chop it into some interesting parts of traveling from the ship and
onto land.
Yeah.
All right. So we pitched up. Do you mind if I move this? So we eventually did this 14-day crossover. I think we were just outside of Bahamas. We did a 14-day crossover to Southampton. Mm-hmm. We anchored down there for a couple of weeks. This is actually where I said goodbye to my missus at the time. And I had to remain on board for a couple of weeks. And eventually we managed to get, after probably 3 or 4 attempts, we finally got our repatriation flight confirmed. Mr. Middleton, you're flying out at X and X time on this day. The day arrived, we got off the ship. Brian, the weirdest experience ever. If ever you want to appreciate cement, land, grass, trees, flowers, stay on a ship for 3.5 months, not feeling it, seeing it, touching it, being on it. And that was the first weird experience, cement. Like actually not being on something that's rocking 24 hours every day for months at a time. And then the next interaction was probably, we got onto the bus. We basically convoyed to the airport. And this was the first interaction of seeing people, cars, and heading into the airport and seeing masks. I mean, we wore masks on board, but of course we were probably the safest people throughout this pandemic. We were locked up outside. I mean, we were far away from land. For us to contract that virus was near probably a 95% chance of ever getting it. We couldn't get it. There was no way we could get it.
So, sorry to actually cut you there. I'm actually thinking now.
Yeah.
You were homeless at some point during this whole period, I guess.
During the pandemic.
Or during... is it during the pandemic or...
Oh, I think I know which moment you're referring to, actually. So that's actually a story on its own. That's a story on its own.
Okay, let me actually go let me actually go into it the proper way, right? Tell me about yourself, right? Where you from? What do you like doing for fun? And then and then we actually, how can I say in a nice English way? And then we graduate.
Okay, gradually. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. You want me to get to that part of
yeah. So tell me about yourself
experience
for now. Besides the whole cruise ship and stuff, tell me about who's Dillon.
Dillon is a lot of things. He's a lot of things. Like I said, football played a big portion of my past. To the transition into cruise ships, and that's been the most relevant and recent experience. The part that you were speaking about, where I was homeless.
Okay, let's go there.
So to take you even further back, before cruise ships.
Okay.
How this opportunity even came about. There was a period where I was applying for yachts. And while I was applying for yachts, I got a phone call from a guy that was actually doing the job that I'm currently doing. And he said, listen, hey, Dill, I heard you applying for yachts. This job over here, perfect job. You are the perfect suit for this job. I can send you my recruiter's details. She'll love you. Trust me. It's lucrative financially and an experience overall. You can imagine you're traveling the world. You're seeing different islands, different places. So I was a bit hesitant, but eventually I'm a guy of yes. So I said, okay, what I'll do is I'll investigate the opportunity. And as I'm investigating, I figured out, whoa, this is actually quite a huge opportunity.
It is. I mean, it's a huge opportunity from hearing it. Actually, it's actually a huge opportunity. But yeah, carry on.
Financially, the experience overall. I eventually applied. I got a Skype call, and I introduced myself to the lady. She asked me a couple of questions, and we had a couple of more interviews, follow-up interviews. Long story short, I eventually got the job, and I was happy. I was over the moon. Couldn't wait to tell my mom on WhatsApp, hey mom, guess what? Good news. I got the job. Here's the bitter part. I'm leaving Johannesburg. So that means I'm going overseas to America. And that experience on its own, Brian, was the experience of leaving.
Living, yeah. Definitely.
My goodness. I actually shared a bit about it to Archie.
Yeah.
But that was probably the most scariest thing I've ever done in my life. To pack my bags once again and head over to a foreign land where I do not have people I can count on. I do not have...
You don't even know.
I don't know what it's all about. It's new to me. Everything is new to me. You want me to go into the story?
Can we go into the story?
Yeah, why not?
Let's go. I'm going to try and keep it nice and brief. Feel free to stop me and ask me any questions.
Yeah, cool.
So here I am. I packed my bags. The day came where I had to leave. I booked my flight with Emirates. This was in March 2019. Packed my bags, went to the airport, said bye to my family. Of course, that was heart-wrenching because the period was extended to I think 6 to 8 months. But basically, how it worked is I would have to fly to Miami first for sales training, right? And that training takes place over 2.5 weeks. So I took obviously I flew up, I said bye to my family, and the flights, how the flights worked. The reason why I want to go into this part, we're going to build up to the homelessness.
Okay.
So there was 3 connecting flights: Johannesburg to Dubai, Dubai to Boston, and then Boston to Detroit, Michigan.
Okay.
And the idea was we're going to fly to the gallery over there. So I hopped onto the flight. It was obviously a couple of hours. I think it was 7 hours. I can't remember the time period now. From Johannesburg to Dubai. While I was in Dubai, I found out, hey, there's other people doing the exact same thing that is
actually doing.
they're on the connecting flight, the next connecting flight. So we met up in Dubai. So I introduced myself. There's about 4 or 5 people that I met there at the time. We chatted for a bit. Now there was layovers in between each flight. A couple of hours, probably like 4 to 6 hours. During these layovers, I got to know them. The nightmare began when we joined the next flight. So
That's
Dubai to Boston.
To Boston, yes.
We landed in Boston, and we found out there's even more people actually that's on this flight. From head office, they were emailing us saying, listen, you guys should meet up and do this together. So in Boston airport, during the layover, we thought, okay, cool, we're gonna get to know one another here. Lo and behold, there was a shorter period, and the immigration officers pulled us over in Boston. So we thought, okay, now what's this all about? They pulled over all the people that had a visa for ships specifically, because we were not technically with our visa, we were not allowed to go on land and just do as we please. We had to get onto the ship. That's basically the overall rule with our visa. So we seated in the immigration room, and boom, there's about 18 South Africans that walked in. And we were all excited. Hey, nice to meet you. My name's Dillon. Hey. Got to know one another there for a second. And the reason why the immigration officers pulled us over, listen, it's like the movies. They are serious people. They basically said, we need a reference number. We want to give them your head office a call. And we want to find out what's the story. We need confirmation of what everyone is saying here. So we gave them the reference points. They made the phone call, but no one was answering from head office.
That's hectic.
And eventually we were panicked, because we probably had an hour left until the flight departs, and we still had to move our luggage into this flight. It was a nightmare. So we nonetheless, we sat there, we waited, we had to wait. You're not allowed to leave that room regardless. Before you know it, one by one, they started calling up the names, said, okay, you can go. And I was probably part of the last batch, last 5. Said, Mr. Middleton, you can go. There's 10 minutes to catch this flight now. It's nearly impossible. I have to check in my luggage and then catch the flight. So I stormed out, grabbed my luggage, sprinted through Boston airport, went to the airline Delta, and I said, listen, here's my story. You probably heard it a couple of times. I see some members they seated here on the side. What's going on? Like, I need to catch this flight. We have to be in Detroit. There's an induction dinner happening tomorrow. And they basically said, Mr. Middleton, you're not going to make the flight. Now, I said, the comforting thought is that there were others there. Out of the 18, 3 of them made it on the flight. The other 15, we had to wait for the next one. Okay, so I said, fair enough. Look, we're not going to make a big scene. We're going to contact the head office, tell them what's up, and we'll just wait. When's your next flight? Oh, it's in a couple of hours. Fair enough. We'll wait.
Yeah.
So we waited, and what they gave us was called a temporary ticket. A temporary ticket basically means that if someone misses their flight or their seats available, it is on that basis that you can join the flight. Here's the relevance of why I'm sharing this with you. Hours passed by. We're a group of 15. We're getting to know one another. We had lunch together. We're having a good time. Eventually went to the boarding gate, and man, oh man, out of the 15 names, they called 14. And as they called them one by one, they went onto the flight. They walked through the tunnel.
Onto the flight, straight.
They went onto the flight. They embarked. And I couldn't believe it. Who do you think the last dude was left behind?
Obviously you.
That was Mr. Middleton. He was left behind, and I couldn't believe it. But I know my luck. I wasn't overly shocked or surprised, but my concern was, what now?
Yeah.
It's 9 or 10. I think it was 9 p.m. at the time.
And that was probably the last flight at that night, or maybe.
Correct. How did you know that? Were you there?
Definitely. It's flights. I just guessed. Normally 9.
Yeah, it's 9.
The last plane to actually leave, it's 9, 10.
Yeah.
The latest.
The latest.
Yeah.
So the final members, obviously I just met them. They were concerned. They were like, Dillon, what's going on? We're not going to go onto the flight just yet. Like we need to sort this out. I said, listen, guys, they're going to keep us all here. It's better if there's just one person here as opposed to the smaller the group that has a problem aside, the better.
The better.
I'll be fine. I made them a promise. I remember pointing to them saying, I'll see you in Detroit, Michigan. And the flight's only 1.5 hours away. I think it was 1.5 hours away, yeah. Short flight.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, they went onto the flight and my reality set in when I went to the side window in the airport and I saw the actual plane depart. I thought, maybe they will open up the doors and say, we were prank. You've been shocked. And no, the flight flew. I watched it fly away. That's when like everything hit me.
Yeah.
So the first thing I did was I ran back to Delta. I went to the kiosk. I tried to find a lady to speak to them and tell them, listen, what's going on? When's your next flight? Lo and behold, there's no one at the airport now. Now it's heading over to
closed.
10 o'clock. I mean, it's late. Every kiosk, Emirates, Delta, Airlines, they were all
Everyone
empty.
is closed, yeah.
And I could not believe it. I was in
And this
shock.
is in Boston.
In Boston, in the States.
Wow.
So I thought, okay, cool. Listen, Dillon, I'm exhausted. At this point, I'm tired. I'm emotionally drained. I'm afraid. My confidence levels are low. I was basically going into an emotional state.
But definitely, you gotta have to go in a way. I mean, naturally, that emotional state will come.
Yeah.
When reality hits. I mean, you saying the reality hit you when the plane left.
When the plane left, yes.
And when you went to go check on Delta, you saw everyone was closed. And
yeah,
you were definitely probably the last person, the only person at that airport.
Weirdly, I thought, man, I stood there at Delta and I was contemplating, Dill, you're solution driven. You need to figure this out and make it work now. Bear in mind, I'm a foreigner. It became a bit much for me, but I took it like a man. The next move was get to the main receptionist in the airport, figure out where that is. Eventually I found it. Lovely lady. She still follows me on Facebook up until this day. She assisted me. I said, ma'am, I told her my story. Listen, I missed the flight, the first flight because of the immigration. The second flight, I missed it again because I was not selected for the temporary tickets. I need a place to sleep. I just want food, water, and rest. That's all I want, just basics. I'll figure this out in the morning. Now, the big problem was I was due for an induction dinner and presentation the very following day. I'm already flying for 2.5 days. This thing's going into 3 days of travel now. I'm tired. I haven't slept well. I'm annoyed. I'm angry. And she said, okay, cool. I'll make a couple of phone calls. She made a couple of phone calls. A shuttle pitched up. I went to here's the homeless spot. I went to a hotel setup. And I asked for the closest ride away, the closest hotel from the airport. That was about a 25-minute drive. That's already when I figured, oh my gosh, things are just getting worse now. Luckily, the shuttle was for free. I head up into the airport, into the hotel. And at this point, we're heading into 12 p.m.
Yeah.
So it's late.
It's late.
I joined the line. There's about 2 people there in the line. Eventually, it's my turn. And I spoke to the gentleman. I said, hi, sir, I'd like to book a hotel, room for one, just for a few hours, one night. He said, okay, sir. I typed in the details. Eventually, he asked me to pay for this room.
Yeah.
And I produced my card. Boom, declined 3 times. Oh my goodness!
What card were you trying actually to use?
I was trying to use my bank card that I had it. Actually, I made the option for me to use it wherever I am overseas. Clearly, it was a technical issue. It's just one of those things. First time using it actually abroad, so I assumed it's going to work automatically. I made the phone calls before I left South Africa, and it declined. Now there's nothing worse than to deal with someone that's not willing to help you when you're in a situation of trauma, and this dude. I mean, I couldn't get physical with him, but I rebuked him with a lot of words. And eventually I said, okay, cool. Listen, what I'll do is, what are my other options? He said, look, you have to pay for your room if you want a room. He was being a pain. Yeah. So I said, I get that, but like, what are the other, can I do a transfer? He said, no, sir, you can either use debit card or credit card. I said, okay, give me a second. I'm going to get my credit card details.
Yeah.
I called my brother up. I said, listen, I need your credit card details. I want to, obviously it's my first time going through all of this. He sent me his details and I said, listen, here's the details. No, can we do it? Nope. He said, nope. You have to have the physical card on you,
Wow.
sir. I went back onto the couch. I said, listen, okay, cool. Here's my options now. I told him, you're not helping me. I'm telling you, here's my options. I need a blanket and a pillow. If you can produce that for me, I would appreciate it. I'll lay on the side over there. I see there's a small mini couch in the reception area. It was freezing. This was also the period just after the vortex that hit America. So it was freezing cold.
Yes.
And guess what his answer was? No, sir, that doesn't look good for the image of the company. Fair enough, that maybe.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, brother, I flew for 3 days from South Africa. Do you know how far? That is the most southern point of the world. And he basically said, you can't do it. So then I asked him, this is my last option. Take me back to the airport. Send the shuttle. Take me back. It's 12:30 now. The drivers are off.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. I said, listen, is there nothing? I mean, what must I just sit here with my eyes open? I'm going to sleep on the couch. I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I'm tired. And he said, no. Let me just see what I can do. Made a phone call. Eventually, I dealt with that dude's attitude. Shuttle pitched up at 1 o'clock in the morning, back at the airport at 1:25. And this is now the day of the induction dinner. As I pitched up at the airport, things just got worse and worse. Now I'm homeless now at this point.
Yeah.
I just figured out the flight that left, the flight that left with everyone, and the flight that I missed, the second one out. My luggage was on that flight, checked in, and it flew. I don't have clothing. The only carrier bag that I have, it had my documentation on me. I had a moon bag with my passport. I don't have a toothbrush on me. I am stinky, smelly, and annoyed now.
Yeah.
So it just got worse, and I messaged some people saying, listen, please tell me you got my bags. Thank the good Lord, there was a guy that saw me carrying my bags. Stranger, met him a couple of hours ago before the flight, and he said,
took your
Dillon,
bags.
took my bags. Things finally started getting better.
Yeah, definitely. So let's move on into how you actually managed to get a plane to...
Like leaving.
Yeah, leaving. How did you actually manage from being homeless into you seeing the light?
So spent the night at the airport, went to immigration the following morning, went to Delta. I went through immigration in the following morning, and I went to Delta again. I said, for the third time, I'm explaining my story now. And I said, this is what's up. Thank the Lord. The lady that even helped me said, I saw you here yesterday and you're still here. What's going on? And she assisted me with basically a flight. And she said, it's once again the words I never wanted to hear. She said, it's a temporary ticket on the basis. I said, I know what it means. Trust me, I know. I'm just going to wait at the boarding gate.
Yeah.
Went to the boarding gate. And before I knew it, this is when the blessings started to, the green light started to show. They called me up. They called the different sections up. They called me up. Boom. I'm busy heading on to the flight now. I said, thank the Lord. This is the furthest I've ever been.
Yeah.
And as I'm walking onto this flight, I heard my name whispered behind me. I was like, Dillon. I didn't even look back because I'm delusional at this point. I'm tired. Like I said, I haven't slept in 3.5 days. I have a massive presentation coming up on this very day. And I heard it again. It got louder. Dillon. And I turned around and I saw a lady that was also part of the batch that was left behind. But because she's done this before, she was smart. She booked herself into a room the previous day. Oh. And we were flying towards the same opportunity, doing the sales training in Miami. And she just slept outside the airport. No one knew where she was. We thought she left, or we were not quite sure. And she pitched up.
Oh, so she had the stuff actually planned. Actually.
She had it, but she came up with a good solution. She got some good rest, good sleep, good food. And we got into the flight together. We were seated next to one another as well. Crazy. So I told her, listen, don't smell. Just keep in your breath, because I'm going through the worst at the moment.
Yeah.
Anyway, the reason why she was so relevant in the story, my card is not working. I needed to book an Uber from the airport in Detroit to the next place.
Where you actually having your
induction dinner.
Yeah.
Yes. She booked the Uber. We arrived there. She booked the Uber. Everything was smart. Everything was smooth. And we pitched up at the venue. The first thing I did, got my stuff, ran up to the room, got into the shower.
Definitely.
We have 2 hours to get into our suit and tie now. for this induction. And I was excused the previous day because the guys at head office said, no, we understand what happened. Just you sleep in, come the following day when sales training actually starts, miss the induction dinner. I had that option.
Oh, that's good.
But I told myself throughout this period, I'm going to pitch up no matter what. I sat on the bed, I passed out for 15 minutes. That's how tired I was. And I decided, you know what, I'm gonna put my suit and tie on.
I'm going to go.
And I'm going to go, and I'm going to pitch up. I put my suit and tie on. I walked downstairs. I remember there was murmurs, but it was getting louder, almost as if I was walking towards a flock of wildebeest.
Yeah.
Like I could hear it was getting louder and louder and louder. As I entered this room now, we're heading towards the buses that's going to take us to the actual venue. Almost like a scene from Suits. The reason why I say Suits, because as I pitched up into this room, a guy steps through the crowd and says, hey, are you the guy that was stuck at the airport, left behind?
Wow.
And I said, yeah, that was me. That's me.
That was almost like Suits, yeah.
Man, the whole room shut down, silence. Everyone turned around.
Is it?
And they were shocked. Everyone, obviously, people were speaking before me.
So you are telling me you were not supposed to be into the dinner, right? Was it a dinner?
Yeah, induction dinner.
Induction dinner.
Yeah.
But you actually, how can I say, forced yourself to say, you know what, I'm actually going to go.
Yeah.
Because they actually told you to actually, rest and you come into the next, what was the next item that I was actually going? I'm actually new into this industry, so
no, that's fine. That's fine. So it was basically the induction dinner that was going to take place, and then from there we go into the sales training.
Oh, so the training. So you were supposed to go only
to the sales training.
The training.
Yeah.
But actually, you told yourself, like,
I told myself,
I'm gonna suit up,
boot up,
and I'm actually going into this dinner.
Whether
they like it or not.
Whether they like it or not.
I like the spirit, man.
No, I had to, because man, Brian, it was tough for me. It was a tough decision because now I knew the 2 weeks that's coming up. The approach at the sales training, it's quite confidential, so I don't want to share too much about it. Okay. But the idea is they have like some sort of a Harvard approach where they rate you on a daily basis and they display your marks and your performance on the wall every day. So whether it's a handwritten test, some sort of emceeing event that you're doing, or where you have to do a presentation, everything is displayed on the wall every day. And the last thing you want is to go into that type of experience tired. And when I pitched up at the event, we passed the mic right around the room. There's about 100 of us, 50 newbies and 50 people that have done this before.
Yeah.
And got to my turn. I kept it short and brief. Everyone had a good laugh in the room. I said, hey, my name's Dillon.
So everyone wanted to hear your story about being homeless as well.
They did. They were shocked. They were like, yo, it's been hectic for them. And they had a good night's rest, a day and a half extra sleep over me from the get-go.
And you actually slept outside.
I slept in the airport at Boston. There were mice running around me. True story. I know it looks like I'm trying to add a dramatic edge. I saw them. They saw me, seeing them, see them.
I mean, the airport was quiet, so they were like, it's time for us to take our planes around the airport.
No, it was bad. Yes, man, it was the blessing in that whole story was eventually when I pitched up, where they say there's a scripture that speaks about knock and the door shall open, seek and you shall find. The blessing in this whole experience was when I pitched up, my 2 weeks ended, and out of the 50 newbies, because we compete against one another, I was blessed to receive a top 6 position, and I was the highest male that finished in the class. I was number 6, but highest male. For me was a...
I see, the way I see this whole story, the whole you being homeless, the experience that you actually went through, instead of them draining you and you be like, you know what, F this, I'm actually going back home. I can't do this anymore. I slept outside.
Yeah.
Now they want me to come to this thing and I have to put in, my energy and work to make out of this thing after I went all through this. You actually, all that energy that you actually went through, you actually turn it into a good, what's the word now? From a bad energy into actually, a good energy.
Yes.
Into a positive energy. You actually use that energy into pushing yourself, getting this opportunity. I mean, you traveled from South Africa all the way into...
foreign lands.
Foreign lands, exactly. Went through all the trauma, the mice, sleeping outside, the immigration.
Yeah, no, my word.
And you actually kept on pushing, no matter what happened. for me, that
I like
is
when you say it like that. I like
yeah,
that.
like
Somebody-
that's what I'm actually trying to say. For me, that's something else. I don't know what more would you want for a story to actually motivate you to do something. So in other words, to the viewers out there,
Yeah.
no matter what you go through, we all had what Dillon went through,
Yeah.
but he kept on pushing.
Keeps on pushing, man. You
And
have to keep going.
the part that I actually like about your story is you actually forced yourself to actually go to the dinner where they actually, because to them they're like, we understand you actually had a moment. So actually rest, we see you at the training and you're like, you know what, F that, I'm actually coming to that dinner. And
Yeah.
I'm going to represent myself. I'm going to represent where I come from. I'm going to represent my family because
Yes.
it's
Yes.
not only me that I'm actually coming here, but behind me as my family that I'm actually trying to represent.
Yeah.
People who actually, the people that actually helped you to go actually to actually get this application, to actually get this job, actually to say.
Yeah.
So I like the spirit.
Thank
that
you.
Actually,
I appreciate it, man.
I mean, I'm
Like my hype man.
also gonna apply the same spirit as well in 2020, 2021. I mean.
Yeah,
I'm
please,
sorry.
we don't take us back.
I'm gonna apply the same energy, the same spirit.
Yeah.
Keep pushing no matter what.
Yeah.
That's how life is. Life can be, you can sleep outside, but the next day you can be sleeping on a cruise ship.
Yeah.
Making dollars.
Yeah.
I believe you guys were making dollars.
We were,
on the
yes.
trains.
Yeah.
And you're back. You are telling us a wonderful story. I wish that if you go back
Yeah.
and you when you go back, try to also document that stuff on your phone.
Yeah, definitely.
Do your live Instagram and yeah.
No, for sure. Yeah, I like it when you said, like I said, the summary makes it sound much more doper than what I think I articulated the story. But it's definitely, you just keep pushing, you keep going. And like I said, trying to become a professional footballer at the time, that was a struggle for me. But I believe that when things are done in His will, it opens up doors, opens up opportunity, and you take full advantage of it, because blessings is designed for the life that we're living. So we take it, we grasp it with both hands, and we make the most out of it. So that's what I try to apply.
So obviously, what you actually your energy and everything, it was actually being driven with your role models, right?
Yeah. For sure.
Tell me more about your role models that you actually, follow in life, like, and why?
And why?
Who's your role models, and why do you like such a role model in your life, or why do you actually follow?
I've got a few, but
give me 2 at most, and then.
Okay, 2.
Yeah.
So the first one, I'll keep it as a figure that is more public. World-renowned preacher. You probably know him or know of him, seen some of his work. His name is T.D. Jakes. Bishop T.D.
We all know the bishop.
You know the bishop, yes.
We all know the bishop.
No, I definitely love the bishop. And the reason why, to answer your second question, I watched this interview, and what I love about this interview is that he was interviewed by a pastor called Stephen Furtick, also a great guy. And Stephen Furtick actually calls Bishop T.D. Jakes the slasher.
I think I know the clip that you're actually referring to. I've seen the interview.
You've seen the interview?
Yes.
Could be.
And he's the slasher of everything. He mentioned a lot of things.
Yes.
He's an author, he's in what. But anyway.
Yeah, so like I said, the relevance of that is he's not only a pastor, and T.D. Jakes actually explains the dangers of being limited by a title that people will put over you. Sometimes it's even a good title. Like people will call him the preacher.
Yeah.
However, he is a businessman, he's a family man, he's a father, a brother, he is a motivational speaker. I mean, the list goes on and on. That's why
he's a filmmaker as well.
Filmmaker slash...
He's an author
slash
author slash
yeah.
what slash
so,
this,
so
slash that.
yeah.
I've watched that interview, and it's quite a motivative interview. It's great.
Yeah, no, it's powerful.
It's powerful. Yes.
The second guy would be my brother.
I see.
On a more personal level. The reason is, while I'll give you a small example, I don't want to go too much in depth with it, but my brother has, during the period when I was chasing my football dream, we grew up with a lot of adversity, family issues and so forth, but always remained positive. During the period when I was chasing my football dream, I moved up to Johannesburg. He was still trying to establish himself in his career.
Yeah.
And he believed so much in me and my dream, and whatever I want to do, he'll always support me. He actually sold his TV. He sold the PlayStation. He sold a couple of things in the house just to make sure we had food on the table.
Yeah.
He always remained positive. He spent his last money on throwing petrol in the car to help me throughout the period when I was playing for Tux, which is the university in Pretoria. Played for them also for a period. And on a personal level, he would definitely be my if I had to choose two, he'd be my second option.
Which kind of makes sense. I mean, my brother also is my actually role model as well on a personal level.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, Dillon, it was actually great to have you.
Thank
on the
you.
show. I hope to see much more of you.
Yeah.
Abroad, abroad or even in person.
For sure.
And yeah, thanks for coming, man. And
yeah, no, not a problem. Thank you for hosting me.
No problem,
this is exciting. First time ever going live. So look forward to more.
I think what I can say is let's do more of this. You know, let's come back. We talk.
Sounds
Next
good.
time is gonna be a banger. Definitely. I just wanted to know about your story, and we move on from there.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.